And it is going to be Overgrowth in the top right spawn location, spawning for Fnatic, taking game 1, tying it up at 1-1. It's going to be our blue Protoss player. It is Harstem. And in the bottom left spawn location, spawning is our green Zerg player, defending I-Series champion, playing for Dignitas. It is dTefel.
I like the very civilized just round of applause we're getting from the audience.
Ah, it's nice.
I think that some people may have enjoyed the pub quiz a bit too much, not wanting to make too many loud sounds. Just a gentle golf clap, just like, yes, well, very good. Very British as well.
Very British indeed, yes. Now, Overgrowth, I would expect a more standard play out of dTefel. I don't expect him to go for that kind of roachling aggression. And just to explain why the roachling aggression on that map was the way dTefel did it is so potentially good, even though it didn't work out that game, is that since he took the outside expansion, your opponent is generally going to assume that you have your in-base expansion if you have the outside one as well. So it looks like you're on 3-base a lot earlier than you are, which basically allowed him to get the speed up a lot earlier. But what he really missed out on is he really wanted to cancel that early third that Harstem took with those Zerglings. And that would have put him in a good position to continue just putting on pressure and denying that third base over and over with that roachling kind of pressure. But unfortunately, the third base got up, defenses got established, and he just was not able to crack it. And this game, we'll see if he goes for something similar. We do have, once again, a Nexus first coming out of Harstem. He just really likes his Nexus in the gateway builds.
I don't mind it too much on this map. Against dTefel, it is something which can be somewhat dangerous because he does always go for that pull first build, but generally gets it at a more economic timing. So you're not too much worried about big plays coming through of a ton of links trying to pressure this early on. But dTefel expanding out now at a relatively normal time, and both of these two stabilize into the mid game pretty happily.
Yeah, and basically we do see the gateway just once again here, just to confirm. No Forge. And this is, once again, going to allow Harstem to be in a great economic position while not really delaying his tech too much.
The key thing this Overlord is, it may look a bit odd, a lot of Zerg players are used to seeing Overlords rally to the natural base, is by rallying it here you can see whether it's a gateway expand a lot faster, because generally if it is, it'll be part of the wall off, although many Protoss players have taken to putting their gateways behind their middle line to avoid that scout.
And that's exactly what we're seeing Harstem doing here. So dTefel scouting that expansion, if he studied Harstem, should know that Harstem has been doing a lot of this Nexus in the gateway play though, so I don't expect that he is being too fooled by this. Meanwhile, over on dTefel's side of the map, we do have Gas once again, so he's going to be going for the early speed. We'll be watching to see if he pulls off Gas, but I'm assuming he probably will, just to make sure that he has some map control, make sure that he has some potential options for aggression if his opponent gets a little bit too greedy, but nothing too crazy coming out of either of these guys so far, and we do see him pulling off Gas with these rounds.
Getting that Gas, though, results in dTefel having a later third base than he necessarily would want. Exactly the same as what we saw in map 1. dTefel, though, he's got good vision, this nice little Overlord shelf here, just keeping the Overlord nice and safe up on high ground. You can see over a good amount of stuff, actually. Keeps an eye on the third Gas, gets a rough idea of the wall off, what's coming through there. But more importantly, he's going to be looking to see, is there anything coming out that could be pressuring me anytime soon? Because what the speed allows you to do is prevent those early pokes and prods from doing anything, really.
Yeah.
One Zealot, one Stalker, one Mothership Core kind of thing, or the kind of mass Zealot warp-ins that some Protoss players do decide to do. Having speed down, you can deny the proxy pylon, and you can also deny those units.
Very, very true. But we do see Harstem opting to just get his Forge down, only one extra gateway coming down, so we're not going to be seeing any kind of mass Zealot warp-ins from him just yet. And the Forge will allow him to get a relatively quick +1 attack upgrade as well. So just looking to get that started as soon as possible. dTefel also going to be adding on his third base here up to the north, which is kind of interesting. This is not generally the third base that we've been seeing being taken on this map. So
generally it's over to the right.
Yeah.
So this is quite cool. Should still get scouted, realistically, unless, of course, we see Harstem decide to put proxy pylons down to the right, assuming that it's going to be coming down through there.
One thing that this does mean for this as a hatchery, it doesn't necessarily spell out what dTefel's going to be doing, but it does mean that the third expansion is going to be closer to Harstem's base, which means that if he were to go for another very, very heavy rallied unit push, the units won't take quite as long to reach there from the third hatchery as they would otherwise. So he could be thinking ahead to something like that as well. Always a possibility.
Hallucinated Phoenix coming across now, and this is going to fly straight over that hatchery. So Nice time. They're coming through from Harstem, getting that information immediately about what his opponent is doing. dTefel, though, running forward with a couple of speedlings. He's going to be looking to try and get a good gauge on what actually Harstem's doing. And can this over? No, we can't quite see that the third Nexus has been taken.
Harstem has been playing with a lot of early third Nexuses this entire tournament, so I think dTefel is assuming that that's going to be coming down. He is going to be popping around the left there with those lings, but that's nowhere near enough to cancel this. There's a good 4 sentries, 2 zealots, even a Mothership core with enough energy to overcharge if this Nexus were to finish, so there's no way those lings are going to break that, never in a million years. And that's just going to mean that Harstem is once again going to be putting himself in a pretty good economic spot moving forward. This time, though, dTefel opting just to continue droning instead of trying to pressure that third, which I do think is the right decision.
dTefel is going up to an awful lot of gas very early on as well. I don't know if you noticed that when he went up to 4 gas pretty damn quick, even before his third base was finished up. So this is going to allow him to get more tech out a lot faster. He's also adding in the +1 carapace upgrade from the single evolution chamber. The advantage of that is it obviously has benefit for both melee units and ranged units, as opposed to the attack upgrades. But it's Spire. Okay, this is pretty cool. And it's hidden.
Okay, so dTefel opting for the Spire. And this is really cute, because dTefel is the kind of guy who, when you think dTefel, you think Roach, Hydra, Viper. We do have a bit of an engagement coming in here. This is actually going to be really nice for Harstem. Able to pick up a lot of these units for free. And the Queens are going to be able to come in from the side. But this is actually a lot of units from Harstem. dTefel doesn't really have that much to defend this, Maddles.
He really doesn't. Well, you saw a third Nexus come down from the Protoss. You don't expect pressure to be coming in imminently. By Harstem pulling back, though, dTefel is given some time to produce a lot of stuff. 18 lings, 5 more roaches coming through, and that Spire getting ever so close to completion.
Now, I was saying before, like, when you think dTefel, you think Roach, Hydra, Viper. That is what you think in this matchup, because that's just always what he does, almost always. But this tournament, he's been throwing out the Spire in a couple of matchups. He used it against Mini-Razor, and Mini-Razor also pointed out, I don't think I've ever seen you do this before. So he's really trying to broaden his playstyle, just not being as predictable as he normally is, and that's really going to be scary if Harstem just over-predicts the Roach, Hydra, Viper of his opponent.
dTefel trying to apply a bit of pressure now, but with the Photon Overcharge, with a decent number of gateway units supporting, he's not going to be able to break that yet. The reason we're seeing this come through is that he had to produce a lot in anticipation of a push from Harstem when he was across the map, so may as well try and get some work out of the units, but what he's really looking to get success with are the Mutalisks that are now in production.
14 of them on the way. We have melee attacks coming on in for our Zerg player as well. Now, how much damage can these mutas do? Harstem has absolutely no idea. There's no cannons here, there's no Stargate, there's not that much anti-air at all. There's a good number of Stalkers. Oh, that Hallucinated Phoenix is going to be able to scout these on the way, which is very important because all the anti-air is in one ball by the third. But this is going to be hard because he's going to have to split his units so perfectly to not lose this third to this Roach Hydra force as well.
Big warp in of Stalkers, but this third base is where most of the action's coming through. A lot of Roaches, a lot of Lings. They're making sure that Harstem's main army cannot retreat back to defend the main. The engagement coming down in the main base, though, a lot of probes are being killed.
Yeah, there were not enough Stalkers there to really deal with this. The Mothership Core's made its way over to be able to Photon Overcharge that expansion, but the natural base does not have a Photon Overcharge defending it, so the Mutalisks are going to be able to pop on in, do some damage, picking off some more probes. Looks like they are going to go for the Mothership Core and then maybe just try to leave because there are a lot of Stalkers in here now, but the Mutas really had a lot of success here. A lot of probes killed off, 19 in total this game so far. So we do have dTefel with a 15 supply lead worker-wise and a 40 supply lead overall, so he's doing very, very well for himself. But there is a Zealot Warp in here from this Warp Prism, which is doing a little bit of damage.
It's nice, and it's something that we've actually seen Harstem utilize repeatedly this tournament, especially up against Zergs, constantly warping in Zealot counterattacks whenever possible. But dTefel, he's got a decent supply advantage, and a lot of that is actually in the army supply. It's 109 to 62. Sure, there's Roaches, but that is still a big jump.
Now, a thing that's important to note is that Phoenix production, double Phoenix production is on the way, but there's no Anion Pulse Crystals. And without Anion Pulse Crystals, you can micro against Phoenixes if you're as good a player as dTefel is. The Mutas popping back into the main here. There's not enough Stalkers to deal with this. The Phoenix is trying to micro their hearts out. More Stalkers coming on in. He could trade with this, I feel. Oh, going after that Artosis Pylon. That's going to deny the production from one of the Stargates for a while, which is actually a critical thing here, as only double Phoenix production instead of triple now. The third Stargate has completed, though. And well, a lot...
oh, here we go. We've got a big engagement at the third base. The Mutalisks coming in there as well. Things are looking very good for dTefel. GG, well played. And the Dignitas player will again take the lead in this series, taking it to 2-1.
Really nice play there. Really unexpected play as well, I feel. We have seen him use Mutalisk so far this weekend, but not versus Protoss, and just taking out a build that I don't think anybody was really expecting to see out of dTefel, and it worked really well. He executed it flawlessly. Just excellent play from him.
It's done really nicely for him, and now with that game advantage, he's going to be getting a bit more back into his comfort zone. And even though there was the one game up, it's technically 1-1 in games they've played so far this morning. You know you've got the better map score, which is always really important to have. We're going to go to a short break now here at the Emerge I51 UK Masters, but when we return, we'll be getting in to game number 3 of this best of 7. Stay tuned.